Good morning everyone. Let's get started on this weekly outlook. It's Tuesday today. It was a bit busy yesterday, so we're starting from today, which is no problem. Right, we're going to start from here on the monthly chart. As always, I'm going to go through this quickly because of course the monthly picture doesn't change very often. Right, so what we can see is last month now, because we've started November, we closed out as a large bearish candle, right, which is very clear to see. So to explain the previous price action again, we mitigated this sell side liquidity into this PDA or POI. We was bullish ever since then, taking out all these buy side liquidity points here, right, making our way up into this monthly imbalance and order block area here. So you can see in that September candle, we took that buy side liquidity from above these old highs here into that imbalance, and we took previous monthly's highs and we closed out as this sort of high test doji here, right? Following month now, October, bearish, okay? So what we have is this bullish leg here from this low to this high. And what we're seeing the discount down at this point here, which I've highlighted, and what I believe for price to be drawn towards this discount here. Okay, so we have many liquidity points along the way, of course, right, such as the lows here from August, which we'll pay attention to, but just from the monthly time frame, I believe we are due that pullback down towards the discount or that equilibrium. And what would be attracting price here is this monthly fair value gap and BPR here in the discount. That's the ultimate aim for this pullback, in my opinion. We'll see if this plays out, and that's everything for the monthly, right? So let's go down to the weekly time frame and see what that looks like for us. Right, I'll be quick on the weekly too, because again, not much has changed except for the last previous week. We were of course very bullish here on the weekly. Again, we closed out as a nice bearish high test here after taking that buy side liquidity that we saw in the monthly into this monthly imbalance area here and that institutional level of 1.19. Okay, price has been bearish since. You can see going lower eventually, and then now last week, clear bearish sign of this bearish engulfing here, right, closing below all of these lows, right, taking all of that sell side liquidity here. So as I've noted here, previous weeks very bearish, showing good signs of momentum. I'm expecting price to continue bearish, right, even without any clear PDAs to use, right? So we might form one. You can see we've got this gap here to here. We'll see how far we pull back this week, whether we close this fair value gap or not. Right, I'm not expecting this order block here to hold price, at least not for very long, like we was holding originally during the summer and into these winter months now. So August first sell side liquidity is that main next target, and it's that daily sell side liquidity target as well, which we'll see shortly. And then again, of course, we have the monthly levels below. So the weekly is not yet in bearish structure like the lower time frames are, daily, etc. But you can see that momentum now forming, right, seeking out that sell side liquidity coming from this buy side liquidity up here, right? So that's enough for the weekly. I hope that was clear. Any questions, just let me know, or have a look at the previous weekly videos. So now on to the daily. So this is where our main day trading picture obviously is coming from, right? So as you can see, I explained in the previous video, but I'll go over it again. I'm referring to this side here as a buy side curve and this side as a sell side curve for what would be a market maker sell model, right? So we have this middle line here showing where the high was formed, okay? And then we have this low here where the buy side curve started from, and that is of course the August low, which will be our target for this sell model. So as you can see, we are currently in a bearish trend because we're respecting these bearish POIs or PDAs, right? So up here where it started, we respected this BPR, broke down, pulled back, respected this order block with imbalance and inverted imbalance as well, inverted fair value gap, sorry, as well here. All right, broke down further again, pulled back up into this inverse fair value gap here, and this small BPR area here, rejected that with a nice high test bearish candle, and then we had more of a complex breakdown here, right, where we pulled back some internal lower time frame stuff, and then price used this nice sell side liquidity trend line. My previous week's video is very clear on these as well, where we have these fractal market maker sell models on the lower time frames as well. So we targeted this sell side liquidity pool here, right, after this pullback, and we had internal targets all the way down here as well, with this being our ultimate target on the 4 hour. But we'll see that when we go down to those lower time frames. So we are expecting this trend to continue, right, with price making these lower lows, pulling back, creating internal structures, and then targeting those structures. So my next targets here on the daily, right, we've come into this BPR here, so I am expecting a possible reaction from here. Price has left behind this daily imbalance here, this fair value gap. So as this arrow suggests, we may react from this zone here and pull back to that daily imbalance. We could pull back further, right? We don't know how far we're going to pull back. Of course, this is a big order block here as well. Price could pull back more into a premium here, so we'll see what happens, but this is the area I'm highlighting at the moment, right? We are quite late in this trend, so it may just mitigate this zone here and continue, or it may just melt and come back to that at a later time. So I have the midpoint of the BPR here, which is another sensitive area which I expect price to target. Okay, so if price does pull back, that will be one of our targets here, as well as any internal daily lows. So I hope that's clear. We're expecting this trend to continue. We may pull back to a premium, right? Daily higher time frame is bearish, continuing the trend, and market maker sell model. I'm expecting a possible bullish reaction from this BPR to create a high of the week, so Tuesday or Wednesday. So we're on Tuesday now, right? So we may pull back further today, or may pull back into Wednesday to mitigate this zone here, and then price continue as we typically create Tuesday or Wednesday highs of the week. Okay, so that's what's expected, especially with this POI or PDA above. Right, so as I mentioned, this is a sensitive zone here, this BPR, so I do expect some possible reactions to come from here. Let me just change this color. As it's a bullish POI, I do expect it to be green and possibly have some sort of pullback towards this area here. Right, so we'll see. So let's head down to the lower time frames, right? We'll get a clearer picture on this, see if it agrees with the daily, right, this bearish outlook. Right, so we may see some sort of pullback longs that we could get involved in until we're in this zone. So as I mentioned, for those that maybe this is the first video, go back to the previous videos, you'll see how I'm explaining these buy side curves here, buy side curve, sell side curve targets, right? Targeting those market maker sell model lows here, and again we had another pullback here, creating that buy side curve, and then eventually we went and targeted that liquidity pool, the sell side curve low here, sorry, the buy side curve low here with this sell side curve. And this was an internal fractal again on the 1 hour and M15, right, within this 4 hour one. Right, so again we have this daily model here from this low to this high, back down to this low, and then you'll see on the way we create fractals, which is what we trade and what I trade to target with that trend. Okay, so why I'm expecting that pullback during the week for Tuesday, Wednesday, and which is an actual good thing here, is to build a buy side curve. We've had all of this breakdown here, and price has left behind, say, this unmitigated zone here, right, order block and imbalance. So like I said on the daily, we may get that deeper pullback, which may be price being attracted to areas like this and use this buy side liquidity here as some sort of inducement. Right, so as I've said here, I want to see price build up on the lower time frame here, creating an internal sell side liquidity target, right? So it's creating that buy side curve like it did here. This is all that sell side liquidity lows building up before it's targeted with this sell side curve, right? So you can look up those market maker sell models and buy models. Right, currently we may be finding some sort of bottom in this area. Here is that daily fair value gap overlapping with this 4 hour fair value gap. So this may happen later in the week as there are bearish PDAs higher in the premium, such as here and here. What we can see is yesterday, now this Monday price action, we took buy side liquidity and took sell side liquidity. So you can see that we took that sell side liquidity here, came up, took the buy side liquidity above these highs into this 4 hour fair value gap, just barely, broke down again, pulled back again, mitigated this order block and imbalance fair value gap here, broke down again. Now we've closed as more of a low test, taking that sell side liquidity. So price may now be drawn up into this zone here if we're finding a bottom, right? We may see that clearer on the 1 hour. So I hope I'm not complicating that for you. And then we have our fair value gap mid target for the BPR here. So things may be a bit more clearer on the lower time frames, but I'll just zoom in so we can see these zones here. This imbalance was spiked into yesterday. Price broke down from there, but now price seems to be failing to break down lower, right? No candle body close. We seem to have swept sell side liquidity. Price was reaching higher, right? But now it seems to be held at this zone as well. So we will see if price is going to continue with that bearish price action or not. Right, again, we could just continue going bearish from where we are, but I would like, it would be my preference to see price come and take these highs out, these buy side liquidities into this daily area, creating that buy side curve, right, that we would want to trade down like that. Okay, so that's what I want to see, preferably. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see how that is shaping up today. So let's go through yesterday's price action quickly, just on the hourly. All right, you can see where the Monday price action started. We've gone into that pre-London and London open kill zone, taking a buy side liquidity, had SMC from that 4 hour fair value gap here, right, that I mentioned. So we've just spiked into it. Price has broken down, creating a leg down. We pulled back. Again, this would be a buy side curve on the M15, right, and the entry time frames. We went into this 1 hour imbalance here, right, spiked into it, broke down again, right, targeting that sell side liquidity. So that was where I was looking for a trade, but price broke down without me. So then later on into the afternoon, we pulled back deeper into that zone, mitigated the order block, and then in the evening and overnight broke down again, taking that sell side liquidity. And if we highlight this low test candle here, you can see how that price action formed as more of a sweeping candle, low test, and price then did have more of a bullish morning. Now into London, we are quite bearish. The bullish POIs and PDAs that I've drawn out here seem to be failing at the moment, but we have taken sell side liquidity, so we'll see how price reacts from here. This candle isn't closed yet, so if this turns into a bullish low test candle, that BPR here would have pretty much held price, right, because the body closure would be above the BPR. So we will see. Again, we have this sort of trend line going on here of highs, right, up until this point, up into this daily zone here. So we may see some longs form after taking this low if we form some sort of strong structure around here on the lower time frames. So we'll see how that goes, right? So the longs will be lower quality trades, of course, because they're against the trend, but we do have a draw on price above for this daily, so it would need to look very, very good, right? At the moment, price can continue going lower or go higher, so I'd need to see more development on, say, the M15, right? And we'll see how price closes out respecting this BPR or not. So let's have a quick look at the M15. We'll see how that looks for our scalp longs or not. Yeah, so currently I would say price is still bearish, of course, right? Ultimately, you can see this structure here isn't bullish, right? This is still a lower high at the moment, so we need to create some good internal strong structures to look like we're going to target what's currently the London kill zone high up here, then this buy side liquidity, then this will be that previous daily high, which is that fair value gap high. So we have Asia's ranges sell side liquidity here, right, which price is left behind, but now we seem to have targeted that pre-London open low, and we've taken some of that sell side liquidity here. So we're going to have to see if order flow switches bullish, right, because then this would be our sell side curve in order to then target creating a buy side curve for these internal sort of lower time frame execution market maker buy model, if that forms, right, targeting these highs up into this draw on price here, because that's what this daily level would be, is a draw on price for us. So if price finds a bottom here and starts creating order flow, then yes, I'll be willing to go long until this area. Then I'll look for price to switch, right, because we would have a nice buy side curve going on here, okay, and then we'd want price to switch and start heading lower, right, where we would have our market maker model here again targeting those lows, right? So that's what I would be looking for later on today at some point, or tomorrow, right, so to continue with that trend. So just to wrap things up, going back up to the daily so we can see the bigger picture, because this is obviously a weekly outlook. Alright, so I hope that was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Alright, this is the sort of price action I may be expecting here pull up into this area, then to continue lower, targeting these lows, this midline here for the BPR, and then all the way down to August lows.